we are involved, and we were able to extract an irrevocable commitment from the FG that 2 months of the 4 months with fair salaries be paid in staggered form. Of course, they have paid for 1 month, and then it's expected that from the commitment that was made, is expected that by the end of this month, they will also pay the second.
All right. Sorry, before you go on, Mr. Michael, perhaps the television in your environment, you can turn the volume down because it's interfering with the commentary from the TV, is interfering with what you're saying. So if you can turn it down.
Television, nothing is on. As I talk to you, we don't even have lights.
Okay. I'm wondering.
There is no power.
In the background, I can hear a football commentary ongoing. That's the reason why I said what I said. All right, go on.
So, like I just explained to you, the directive we got yesterday, and that's the reason why we suspended the strike for 1 month.
Okay. So tell us now, as it is there any plan of continuing with the strike anytime soon?
Yeah, I just told you that the strike was suspended just for 1 month.
No, like for what?
If government
does that mean?
If government reneges. Hello?
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, I said the strike was suspended because the commitment we extracted from the government is just that is for the payment, the 2 months out of the 4 months salary arrears, the 2 months should be paid in staggered form. One has been paid already at the end of last month, which was last weekend, and then the other will be paid by the end of this month. That's the extraction we got.
So,
and
was there an agreement? Was there a reason given to you by the government as to why they can't pay the 4 months? I mean, all at once.
Well, I will not be able to tell you that because government will always have their reasons. You understand? Government will always have their reasons when it comes to the welfare of the Nigerian worker. In this case, SSANU. We wonder why they have always chosen to have this double standard. Because if you watch, when our sister union was paid theirs, they were paid 4 months, 2 months, and they were paid through within just a weekend. They were paid. So we don't know the reason why they chose to do that, but we will go back to the drawing board and then get the information as regards the reason why they did what.
All right, because the reason for asking is Nigerians and students would also be worried if, it happens that, 2 months have been paid and on the long run, 2 months are still being owed and you would have to go on another strike to get those 2 months to be paid. It means they would have to suffer. So for some people, when you have these negotiations with government, why not directly stand on your ground and make sure that the whole problem is solved once so everybody can rest and get back to their lives uninterrupted? That would be what many Nigerians, I'm sure, expect from these negotiations. So the fact that we're having 2 months paid now and would have to wait for, whether the other 2 months will be paid. In fact, so far, it's just 1 month that has been paid, 1 month left. It's something that you would understand if students are worried, which now brings us to my next question. Following the history behind the 4 months salaries that were withheld had a lot to do with strike that the union participated in. I think that was in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And that was when this development came up. And since that time till now, you've been owed that money. There are some that have questioned the approach to work by some of your members. Can you clarify this for us? How should I say serious or how devoted are members to their duty, to their job? Some people say, when it's a government job, not many people take it as seriously as they should.
If I may tell you, first, I want to inform you that I am an auditor. And if you go to our office, once work resumes, you go to our office. We resume. Hello, are you there, please?
Yes, we are. Go on.
Okay. We go to our office as early as, in fact, in the university, if you go there, we resume work first. Resume work in our office. We resume work first. Our work is not such that, because we know the area we deal with is a very sensitive area. Do you understand? So, and our union members too, because if you say, you talk about seriousness, then it's laughable, because we have some of our sister unions that you can even point that, but we are not accusing anybody now. So our people take their work seriously. In fact, let me tell you, it's as a result of the love we have for our work. That's why we are even calling off the strike. Because let me tell you something. If you remember the poem written by J.P. Clark, he said casualties are not only those dead that died at the war. Do you understand? We are not only casualties when that we embarked on strike. You understand? 2022. We are talking of 4 months. So that's not the only casualties. The students are there. The parents who will also suffer when they have to pay extra school fees for overstaying in school. We also have the university that will also count its loss as well. See, it is neither here nor there. Nobody loves strike. That's why I told your people the other day, I said, we feel so pain. It's such a painful thing going for strike, because we know that the losses thereof is not something you can just, wave.
Hello, Mr. Ezebaraba.
Hello.
Yes, if you can come
Hello.
again, please. We couldn't hear you clearly towards the end. Yep, go on.
Okay, I was trying to explain to you. I said, we are not happy going for strike. Nobody is happy embarking on strike. It's always a painful exercise. Like I was telling you about the poem by John Pepe Clark, that casualties are not those that died at the war, during war, alone. Of course, we suffered in 2022 as a result of embarking on strike. As I talk to you today, we lost our members, even our salaries were withheld. And that's what we are fighting till today as we talk. Are you there?
Yes.
And then what about other persons, other players too? The students who may suffer loss of extra year. What about the university that may also suffer loss in?
All right, I think
And that's the reason why we come.
Okay, Mr. Ezebaraba, we have a short commercial coming in a matter of moments. I think we're having interferences with the service provider. We have a very short commercial coming in a few seconds. We'd encourage you to please stay on the line for us. So we take this commercial. We have a short commercial coming now. Please stay on the line for us. After the commercial, we continue with the conversation.
The show continues after this break on Nigeria
Secretary of SSANU, UNIPORT chapter, Comrade Ezebaraba Michael, is with us this morning. Mr. Ezebaraba, thank you for staying on the line for us. On Facebook, it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. You can join the conversation. We are streaming live. Let us know. A very simple question we're asking the listener is, will we ever understand why the federal government always waits for a strike before it performs some of its constitutional duty? In this case, if you follow the history, the NLC had also had to embark on strike for minimum wage issue, which was a constitutional matter and would not even have required a strike if those in charge of that ministry had done what was needed to be done, the lawmakers had done what was needed to be done. I mean, we would have implemented a new minimum wage without even birthing an eyelid. But unfortunately, that was not the case. We had to embark on a strike first. ASU, on the other hand, has had to embark on numerous strikes before ever getting anything implemented. We don't want to mention the health sector because, you know, if it's not JOHESU, it's what they call doctors, or I mean, the list is endless. Have to embark on strikes, resident doctors, before we get something done, before you get government attention. How long would it be this way? Should it ever be this way? Why is it this way? What makes the government not learn from what it had before? Quickly to my guest, Mr. Ezebaraba, there's one question I would like to ask you before we open the phone lines. You had said, well, so far 1 month has been paid. That happened last weekend. Last week. Yeah. And now you're waiting for the second one to be paid. If we are to follow the agreement that was reached with the federal government, which would mean if the second one is paid, you would then be owed 2 months outstanding. Are you confident that the other 2 months would not require you to go on a strike first before government, does the needful?
Well, we don't need to preempt. Let's get to that bridge. We'll cross it.
But from what you've seen in the negotiations now and how it's going so far, you could be able to decide. And you said the meeting was supposed to be held. When is this meeting going to be held with the executives of both associations?
Now, Ifeimi, like I told you, I said when we get to that bridge, we'll cross. The simple thing is government, the president made a pronunciation that our salary should be paid. And then the then Minister of Education, in his own interpretation, wrote to the Minister of Finance, telling him that the president has approved for the payment of 2 months. Where he got that, we didn't know. Nobody can even tell you where he got that idea from. And now we pursued that one, made all efforts. You understand? While we are still, pursuing that, in February, ASU was paid. And then we got, astonished. We got surprised. What happened? Was there a mistake? And then, they came with explanation that there was a omission and all that. So this one, now we are insisting, the one that president said, pay that one. When you're done with it, then we'll go to the drawing board. But for now, pay the one that the president has approved, the waiver he gave in your own thinking. Because that was, president said, pay them. And you now said it's to your interpretation, given the fact that they paid ASU 4 months out of 8. Their own interpretation is that our 4 months should be 2 months, which is 50%. So that is it, sir.
But you still haven't told us, now that this has happened, the national leadership had talked about a meeting that would be held to decide on the way forward following the 1 month payment and the expected second one to complete 2 months. So I'm saying, is that meeting happening anytime soon?
In the next 1 week, we'll be going for our next meeting. So I know that all decisions concerning that will be taken there. All
right. Let's quickly open the phone lines and get some of the callers to share with us their view on this. 0817-923-0007. I was just telling you about how it seems as though workers in the country have had to always embark on a strike before they get the federal government to do the needful in different situations, whether it's ASU, whether it's SSANU, whether it's Nasu, whether it's resident doctors, name it. Everyone, whether it's NLC, whether it's TUC, everyone had to embark on a strike before they get something that's constitutional, that's their right, that's supposed to go to them. And even when they embark on the strike, in many cases, we don't even see them getting what they should get as how they should get it. I forgot to add pensioners. Also have to go on strike. Retirees have to go on strike, have to protest first. How long? Does this ever change? Well, Justice is on the line. I will start with Justice. Remember to keep your contributions straight to the point and short. Justice is in Alu. Good morning, Justice.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Michael.
Thank you very much.
I just called in to be in the discussion about the studio. Well, like you, if the union will need to go back, to the trenches and demand for the 2 months, you will observe that government kept to have it's unfortunate that the kind of government we have is a government that only listens, go to the trenches to demand for what belongs to you. Government will not be willing to pay the 2 months, assuming they pay the assignment as exactly said, except the union goes on strike. So until you have in this country, you need to get it right. Whatever welfare package you Nigerian workers should be given to them. You don't need to go and call strike. You need to do the needful. Then there will be no need for strike. Our national released a memo giving government benefit of the doubt that by the ending of the month, government has agreed that the outstanding 1 month will be paid. Now, keep tap to these issues and have our government do, except with strike or the threat of the government that we need to go on strike before the. It's quite unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. We really need to change the narrative in this country to take sexual education seriously.
All right. Jude in UNIPORT, good morning. Oh, we lost that call. So far, Mr. Michael, for the students, how are they reacting and responding to this? Has there been conversations with the student unions and their leadership about, what SSANU and Nasu are doing and why they are doing it?
Well, the students, they just finished their exams. You understand? And where we'll now get in contact with them is when the new section starts and they come for registration. Some of them that stay in the school and all that, they interface with our people. But the challenge now, the challenge they will have for those of them that are graduating, especially those ones that will go for service and all that require mobilization, they will need to meet our people. So that's where the challenge comes. And that's what we considered before this issue. Those are part of the factors we considered before we decided, to say, let's call of believing that government will do their own part. You understand? So they will also come to the point where it will be difficult. So we don't want such situation, and that's why we called off.
Oh, okay. Alex in Onelga, good morning.
Good morning, Femi Andrew. Good morning, guests in the studio. I want to make it snappy. The last question you asked your guest, he was trying to escape from it. And that is the area I want to hit up. In as much as Nigerian government always like people to go on strike before they do the needful, then your guest has mentioned that he's not happy. They feel it. The students, the parents feel the impact of strike. For the area you ask him, where if the government fell on the remaining months, what will happen? I expected him to answer directly. Strike is the option, and no need of thinking left or right. Thank you. That's my question. Have a nice time.
All right, Alex. Thank you. Mr. Michael, you heard the caller. It says he would expect you to answer directly. So perhaps I ask the question again. As it stands, looking at the history of the government in negotiations like this, looking at the history of the government with negotiations with Nasu in the past and SSANU in the past, and then the other sister unions, ASU and the rest of them, we've all seen the path it followed. There are those that will be concerned that instead of going on strike back and forth, if we look at what happened with labor, with the minimum wage, back and forth, and then they would agree, and then government would not do it completely, and then we'd have to go on another strike, and then students would have to go through the pain all over again. Well, in this case, perhaps there can be some sort of heads up. If we do not get the remaining 2 months as at when we should, because now we don't even know when those 2 months will come. I don't think you mentioned anything about an agreement for the remaining 2 months. We only know of 2 months, which 1 month have been paid. What would happen then is what he wants to know.
Got him correctly. His question, I think, is bordered on this second part, the second 1 month, if I got him correctly. Because I told you when we started that the strike was suspended. It was not called off. It was suspended for 1 month, believing that government will be sincere enough to do what it has committed itself to do. Do you understand? If that is done, then we'll go back to the drawing board. Let me tell you, the only language government understands is strike. That's the only language. And it's always painful on our part. Like I told us before, it's always painful. It's painful because all the stakeholders in the industry suffer, including us that embarks on the strike. All the stakeholders, like I told us before, all the stakeholders, the students, the management, the parents, everybody. Some of them are even, jostling to go for service. Imagine that we continue the strike. What will happen? So it's neither here nor there.
All right.
So, the only language government understands is strike.
So what happens then after you get these 2 months secured? Have there been any pre-conversations? Because it was 4 months you have been asking for right from the very beginning since 2022. It's been the 4 months after that 8-month strike. You've been asking for the 4 months. So the question now is, if you get the 2 months, the other 2 months, do we expect another negotiation with the government? And how would that look like?
I told us in October, Mr. President gave a waiver. He said, because you remember when we embarked on the strike, the then Minister of Education, Minister of Labor, Senator Chris Nguge, invoked the no work, no pay rule. You understand? No work, no pay rule. And that was it. We went into agreement with them, signed an MOU. The last clause, part of the last clause there was that there will be no victimization for members that embarked on strike. Sadly, they turned back and then decided not to pay us. And that was why we started pressing. And then by October, Mr. President gave a waiver. What was the waiver? That our salary should be paid. So, but these other persons, the former Minister of Education interpreted his own and then said it was 2 months.
We get all of this, Mr. Fine. Michael. We get all of this. But what I think the caller wants to be clear about is, now the former minister had said 2 months is what will be paid. Now, the total is 4 months. From the 2 months that have been agreed to be paid, they have said you have gotten 1 month already last weekend.
Yes.
So remaining 1 month. So if that 1 month comes, you have gotten 2 months, right? If it comes. What would then happen to the remaining 2 months? That's the question now. The other 2 months to make it 4.
Like I told us, we'll go back to the drawing board. Of course, is our sweat. It's our entitlement. Of course. So we will go back to the drawing board.
All right. Robin in Eche, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, Robin.
It ought not to be my headache because I do not work in any of those places. But why is my headache? Because I'm in Nigeria. It baffles me, and my mind is full of regrets. Because the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, told Nigerians and the world, or those who care to listen, that Omiloko, that is my turn. He has worked so hard, believing, praying by all means to see he becomes the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And indeed he became. And as a man who said it was his turn, these are all part of problems that Nigeria is carrying on his shoulders over the years. I felt he should have been able to nip these problems in the bud. He has told us how much Nigeria as a state has paid since he became president, since subsidy is gone. Yet he did not deem it necessary to ensure that these payments are all made to avoid this season strikes. Rather, he's sharing the money to state governors, pushing out money to judiciary, increasing their salary by 300%. Doing all of things. Then on the issue of the guest in the studio, greetings to you. But I think I want to remind you and your members that the drawing board you're talking about in Nigeria context, there's no drawing board, there's no board anywhere. Not all doing it for doing well. As at last week, I was hearing that 2 months have been approved, thinking that they will pay through the 2 months. Now I'm hearing this morning that they are paid you 1 month last weekend. The other one will be paid at the end of this month. Then at the end of the month again, you go to draw. Who don't go to draw what? Having emphasized and re-emphasized the language that the government understands is strike. Why don't you settle this matter once and for all? A part of whose post is gone, including you. We should go now. Good morning, Robin Manda, the farmer.
All right, Robin, thank you very much. Good morning. Let's take a few messages on Facebook first before we get to WhatsApp. Sun says people should allow us rest with the issue of strike. You can't say that you're solving problems and compounding it. The major reason people who can afford the tuition of private universities take their children there. Ogo General Justice Chukwu says the only language the current administration understands is strike. It's quite unfortunate that unions issued a warning strike and even held a nationwide protest march, even approached the National Assembly complex, and yet nothing was done. Godwin Agwawon says, good morning. This matter of whether federal government can ever understand, they can, but they will never like to do it because their children are all schooling abroad, so they don't care. The main problem causing the strike is actually payment of salaries and promotion. If the federal government can put this in place, all issues can be resolved, because the honest truth is that it's actually affecting education. Godwin from Alakaya, that one came in from you. Another person says, Ifemi, okay, I think we already took this one from Godwin. Yes, we already did. All right, Mr. Michael, we have very few minutes, less than 2 minutes left. So let me just get you to wrap up before we leave. So you're saying you're going to have a meeting next week on Wednesday. Is that it? And that's where you make your decisions on what will happen next.
Our next meeting is by next week. We are going to Abuja. Our next meeting. Now, our only concern is government. Government should be sincere enough to ensure that every agreement they go into with the workers, Nigerian workers, SSANU and Nasu in this case, any agreement they go into, they should be sincere enough to implement the contents of the agreement. Now they've gone into another commitment. Our members are not even happy. Our members, as I tell you, they are not even happy that our people, decided to listen to the federal government. But what do? We love our job. We love our people. We love the students. We love everything that we are doing. We cannot, watch them like this. We can't watch them. Watch students that are supposed to go for service remain that way. We can't watch them, miss service. We can't watch students that are supposed to gain accommodation. Of course, you know that in the next few, we've started releasing lists for admission. These are our people. Any moment, another list will be out. We can't continue watching them like that. So that's why we are very sincere on our part. Let government be sincere on its own part.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael, for your time.
Many thanks, sir. Thank you.
There it is. We wrap things up on the Morning Crossfire here. We have a commercial coming immediately. It's the reason why we have to wrap up quite early. My name is Ifeami Andrew. Get the whole conversation again on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Jude is coming in shortly with Hello Port Harcourt. You don't want to miss that as well. Good morning.
Democracy is the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Nigeria Info opens the mic.